Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into athletics at the college level. My guest today is Laura Liesman, and she is the Assistant Vice President and Director of Athletics for Georgian Court University. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anthony. It's certainly a privilege to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
All right. So usually I start my guests where you went to college. So where'd you go to school?
Well, I went to two schools, actually. Out of high school, I grew up outside of Chicago. So I thought I wanted to go to a really big school, so I went to the University of Illinois. Had a lovely time there, and then decided it's probably not the best place for me to be academically. Okay. So I transferred to Monmouth College in Illinois, not in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And finished my degree there in, well, a long time ago.
Well, let's just go back a little bit into high school. When did it
Sure.
all start for you thinking about going to college? Was it freshman year, senior year? When did it all start?
I think I always knew I was going to go to college. I don't think that was an option with my parents. I always said, all my friends were talking about, well, if we go to college or if we don't go to college, that was really never presented to me as an option.
Oh.
So I always knew. I had a sister who was 6 years older than I am. So I went through her college travels with her when they went to every campus around the area looking for her. So I kind of was already looking at that point.
Yeah.
And then I would guess freshman, sophomore year, we really started to look at what I thought I wanted, big, small, medium size, what majors I was looking at, and really started throughout the whole high school process then talking with my guidance counselors. I played basketball in high school, not sure I knew I wasn't good enough to go play at a big school, but really that wasn't given that I'm an athletic director, that wasn't really what I was looking for in college to go play sports, so.
Gotcha. So was it something where you stayed close to home? So was it something always in the back of your mind that that's what you wanted to do?
No, I wanted to be far enough away that no one could just drop in on me, but that I could go home without having to fly anywhere. So we looked, in my searching, we went over to Indiana, looked at IU and Bloomington, Indiana University, went down to Champaign and looked at Illinois.
Wow.
Didn't really look at any schools local, and there were some smaller schools local than all the Chicago schools. Didn't think I wanted to be in a city, so that ruled that out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it was really fun going to the campuses and seeing what was the fit, what did I enjoy. So, and obviously didn't make the right choice the first time around and really found a home when I transferred down to Monmouth, so it was a great experience.
Now, is Monmouth the smallest school?
It was very small, actually smaller than it is right now. When I was there, it was 800 students, so in a very tiny rural town. So that coming out of high school was not at all what I thought I wanted, but really found a home there with just the small class size, the faculty that were really engaged. I say all the time, our faculty lived in the town. Most of them would have us to dinner senior year for our senior sem classes a lot of times, and we would do classes in their living rooms because there were 10, 12 of us.
Yeah.
So it was really a hands-on personal approach to the collegiate education.
Wow. So, and did you play any sports when you went to that school?
I did not. I ended up then coaching, being a student coach for women's basketball and working in the athletic department. So that's really when I started thinking, hey, this might be the career I want, but still went probably on 8,000 different paths of what that was going to end up looking like in the future. But it was a great experience working with their athletic director.
So now, how does one graduate from Monmouth College to becoming the Assistant Vice President and Athletic Director at Georgian Court University, which is in New Jersey?
Correct. It's a very windy path. Actually, my athletic director knew the sports management master's director down at Georgia Southern University in Statesboro, Georgia. So I headed down there after graduation to do my graduate work. At that point, thinking I wanted to be a sports agent or I was going to go to law school after that. And actually thought about law school prior, but my athletic director was the one that said, go see if you even like this first before you go spend the time and money in law school. So I went down there, really enjoyed it, did an internship with the Women's Basketball Coaches Association outside of Atlanta. Loved that experience. It was planning the coaches' education at the convention, or for their convention at the Final Four. Wow. So I was able to go to the Final Four up in Richmond, Virginia. And just a fantastic experience that really solidified that that's what I wanted to do. But, and this is where we talk to our students a lot, right out of graduate school and that internship, I didn't get the job in the industry I thought I was going to get. And through my internship, where I was making $400 a month, rent was $450. So I worked retail. Actually got an opportunity to come to New York City and work corporate retail for Liz Claiborne for about a year. Realized I didn't want to do that. So went back to Atlanta and worked in human resources with the Kroger Corporation in their regional office. Enjoyed that. Really still didn't think that was the direction I wanted to go. Missed sports. So then it was like, okay, I'm going to teach and coach. My mother was a teacher for 40 plus years. My dad had been a coach. So went back, coached at a gifted high school in Illinois, was going back to school, started substitute teaching, realized, nope, that's not it either. And then found an opportunity to be an assistant athletic director at the College of St. Benedict in Minnesota.
Wow.
So went there, and then from there, my athletic director there submitted my name to the search firm that was doing the search at Georgian Court, and drove from Minnesota to New Jersey, and here I am, 16 years later. So a very windy path, but we really talk to our students. You've got to be prepared for that.
Sure.
That you never know where your career is going to take you.
Sure. So so all of those different paths take you to where you are today and developing what you're doing. Tell me a little bit about what it takes to be the athletic director at Georgian Court, at a school like Georgian Court, because it's not a big time school.
Well, you got to be prepared to do a little bit of everything. We say that a lot in Division II, and even St. Benedict's was Division III, so another small school, that you can't look at what the Rutgers AD is doing or those things and go, that's what my job's going to be like. It's everything. I mean, when I first started at Georgian Court, we had about 45 athletes, 6 sports. We were playing in the building on campus, for those that are familiar, called the Casino. My first basketball game, the officials come and say, "Hey, a nail popped up in the in the lane. Can you fix that?" I couldn't find a hammer. Took the stapler. So all duties are open and fair game for whomever is there, and and that's really been great, because as we've grown the program, I've had the ability to work with our student athletes directly in developing our student athlete advisory committee, to really look at some of the fundraising aspects of your role in athletics, to the education piece, working with the chairs and the deans of, what do our student athletes need to really be successful here, and really being integral parts of the education process. And we talk to all of our coaches when we're doing hiring, all of that you have to be ready to be an educator. If you just think it's all about your sport and winning, it's not the place for you.
Right.
That we really want our coaches, our whole staff, to be part of the entire experience that our student athletes are going to have at Georgian Court.
So what is a student athlete at Georgian Court? How do you get them to be successful?
Well, we put a lot of things in place, but I think first is to really have the committed coaches. I'm very blessed to have an amazing staff of coaches who do get it. I think my youngest coach in terms of experience at Georgian Court has been there 5 years now, so we've had a lot of consistency, which really helps. So it starts in the recruitment process to make sure it's the right fit for a student. Every school's not right for every student.
Sure.
So our coaches really do a lot of talking with the recruits prior to coming to Georgian Court. And then once they're there, we do a lot, a huge orientation program of really talking to them, connecting them with other student athlete mentors. We developed a mentor program. Wow. And then their first year, we call it GCU, YOU, for our freshmen. Every Monday night, it goes through 12 weeks of some different topic every week, where our older student athletes are leading a lot of those conversations of what's it mean to be a collegiate athlete? How do the Mercy Corps values of Georgian Court play into your life as a student athlete and as a student at Georgian Court? And really try to acclimate them to the campus, to what time management's going to be like, and because it is different from high school, and mom and dad aren't there with your schedule, you have to remember it. But really trying to create an environment where they can grow, where they are forced to make some decisions, sometimes good, sometimes bad. We work through those, but that they're learning along the whole way through their athletic experience, through their academic experience, and through the other activities they have on campus. So we really like to think we do a holistic job of getting them through to graduate.
Sure.
You know, and that's what we talk about. It's about walking across the stage, not lifting a trophy.
Sure, sure. So now, how many sports are at Georgian Court?
We currently have 14.
Wow.
So we've 6 years ago we went co-ed, so which I'm sure you're aware of. So we've now have men's sports and women's sports. So that's really been a fun transition.
Yeah.
We've all but one of our men's sports has already won a conference championship in those 6 years. Just got back from the soccer championships up in Connecticut this weekend with both our men's and women's soccer programs. So that was exciting. But you know, the growth and the ability to see that and our student athletes grow, you know, again, from 45 to now we had over 300 this year.
Wow.
So it's really a great group of students who support each other, which is great to see too.
Sure.
And really get involved. We've won over the past few years, come in first or second nationally for the Service Award for Division II for the NCAA. So again, given our values of our institution, that's certainly something we're very proud of.
Wow. So now, a student athlete comes to Georgian Court. What can they expect at the school?
Mm-hmm.
What's the school atmosphere like, and what is the sports atmosphere like?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the sports atmosphere we have more control of. So we really try to engage our students with, you know, giveaways and activities and halftime, not entertainment because it's the students that are the entertainment, but free throw contests and those type of things to make an atmosphere for our students and our student athletes. We've tried, and I know a lot of small schools struggle with how do we get people to the games. And so we've really tried to do that, really increase our visibility on social media using our students. You know, someone my age isn't necessarily the best person to say, hey, get on Twitter and Instagram.
Sure.
But really getting our students to do that where they get some practical experience for things they may do in their future. And they're following each other. So we've really tried to, how can we engage in those platforms? And our students have been amazing. And our student athletes, we have several of them either doing internships or work study within our department, within the marketing department. And so that's really been a benefit to increase the atmosphere on campus through athletics. I think outside of athletics, your experience is going to be what you want it to be. And you know, there's so many different clubs available for both students and student athletes. I mean, that's one of the things in Division II. We also pride ourselves that our student athletes can be students.
Sure.
They can join clubs. They can be in the Student Government Association. We have, I think, over 10 resident assistants this year. So they really get engaged across campus, not just in the athletic world.
So now, as a Division II school, what's the differences between a Division I and a Division II school if you come as an athlete?
Money is a lot of it. I mean, we say the sport is the sport, but you're going to be riding on charter buses or vans. You're not flying anywhere. We're fortunate in our footprint of our conference. We're right in the center, so we're never really taking trips more than 2.5 hours, which helps with missed class time. Which you know, so they're not on the road all the time, and certainly some of the Division I programs have that, but they also have the luxury of having tutors travel and all those different things where, you know, it's much more intimate of an experience because, again, you're not just known as a student athlete, you truly are a student, you're part of the campus, you're integrated into the campus, but the competitive experience is still at the same level.
Yeah.
You know, we've been to numerous conference tournaments. One, I think we're over 30 plus since we became a Division II institution in the early 2000s. So we've provide that competitive experience, but also allow them to be students in the collegiate environment.
So now you brought up monies, right? So that's a big thing for parents.
Sure.
You know, money's at the college level. Colleges are expensive. How does Georgian Court work out monies for families? Is there anything that families look at when they're coming? Is it all based on just grades? Is it athletics? Is it both?
Sure.
How does it all work?
It all works together. So all the things you just mentioned, grades, and there's need-based aid, there's athletic talent aid, that we're able to develop a package that meets the needs of our student athletes. to hopefully have them choose to come to Georgian Court and be a Lion. So it's all of the above. We don't do full ride scholarships, again, a difference between Division I and II. We're all part of the financial aid process with our athletic awards, so they're part of the pyramid as you build it to hopefully get a really strong package for incoming student athletes.
So now, how do students and parents find the school like Georgian Court? What do you do to let them know about you?
Sure. A lot of that is our coaches. You know, they're out all over. We had National Signing Day last week, and you know, our softball coach has really recruited a lot of California and West Coast students. So she goes out there.
Wow.
She's looking at them in tournaments and different areas of the country, and so are many of our other coaches. So a lot of that is through them and their directed recruitment. We certainly, you know, work with the institution for any of the marketing that we're doing through Georgian Court in general, not just athletics.
Yeah.
We certainly hope that people are coming in and looking at the Georgian Court Lion site, gculions.com, and checking in on our teams and really, you know, looking at that as an option. We host a lot of high school events on campus. Athletically, we just hosted the Jersey Shore Conference volleyball tournament, so we had a lot of volleyball players on campus and their families. So we're trying to do a lot of local outreach to high school students, guidance counselors, but our coaches really do yeoman's work in getting out in different areas than might be just a local reach.
So now, as the athletic director of the school, what's the role of the athletic director? What are some of the things that you do? Is it coordinating all the coaches? Is it coordinating the sports? Is it coordinating financial aid or generating fundraising? What's entailed with
a little all of the above, if there's a box for that. I talk a lot about my job is to advocate for our student athletes and for our coaching staff to be successful in whatever they're trying to accomplish at the institution. So it's a lot of those things. It's working with our academic professors and deans and chairs of really pairing them up of what makes sense. You know, they're great partners in our recruitment process of letting our student athletes meet with faculty. It is the fundraising. You know, more and more we're looking to have to do fundraising to continue to do the programs that we want to do at the level we want to do them, to provide that experience. It's advocating for our students in terms of, you know, where can we find leadership opportunities for them, and the same with our staff, you know, to continue to make sure our coaches are current and up to date and know what's going on in the world of higher education as well as athletics. You know, we did a huge topic this August with our staff about mental health issues in student athletes, and brought some speakers in, read a book as a staff, What Made Maddie Run. So, you know, really talking about those things, how we can best support our students. And that's the ultimate goal of everyone at Georgian Court, is how do we provide a great experience so you can graduate and go be a great human in the world as you move forward in your career.
So that brings up a question that always comes up with parents as well. They always say it's all about the sport. It's nothing about academics. But you were saying before you put in the academics into the practices and things of that sort. What is the way you do it with the student athletes? How do you get them to make sure it's all about academics as well as the sport?
Sure. I mean, again, I think that starts a lot at the recruitment process, both with parents and the student, of saying, you know, one, you have eligibility standards. So if you can't meet the bare minimum, you can't play. We expect more than that. We have, you know, programs in place. If students start slipping below a 2.5, we call it our academic improvement program, where they meet with our faculty athletic rep or my associate athletic director or one of the coaches, not their own, to really just check in what's coming up. Required to do 3 hours of tutoring in our tutoring center, and so we really put that as the focus, and we talk about it all the time, you know, that you're not probably going pro. And so, but you are going to be a professional somewhere. So academics has to be first, and then all these other pieces will inform that and help support that. And we talk a lot about these are just as important educational activities that you're choosing to do and participating in while you're here, but certainly your academics come first, and the number one priority is graduation.
Now, you also talked about networking and getting into different professions. What do you do with networking at the school for the student athletes?
Sure. I mean, one of the things we're just starting to try to develop right now is connecting our current students with student athletes, with former student athletes who are now out in the business world, teaching, wherever they may be,
Yeah.
and realizing, we talk a lot about when students come into college, they know teaching, I want to be a lawyer, I want to own my own business, boom. But there's so many jobs out there, and part of what we're doing in education now is really moving towards jobs that don't exist now. And so how are we educating them and really providing those skills, the communication skills, just the critical thinking skills, so for them to move forward in their careers, but really developing those relationships with former student athletes or former students. They don't have to have been student athletes at Georgian Court to really connect. But we try to work with our career services. We're actually partnering with a sophomore experience right now to really talk specifically about career planning, what you want to do. So many times our students think, I don't have to think about that till senior year. It's like, no, you need to think about that now, because what you do over the course of your 4 years is really going to put you in a position to be successful. So really looking at how we can help them throughout their whole time and early in really developing those relationships and also giving them the skills to succeed as they move forward to look for their jobs and careers.
So now, being a person like yourself that went into many different fields before you found your niche, how do you explain that to students, that sometimes it's not what they've actually taken as a major in school, is that's exactly where they're going to end up? I've been doing this for over 6 years now, and I've interviewed hundreds of people, and there's only been less than a handful that have taken a progression on their status.
Sure.
Everyone else has gone from one avenue to another, just like yourself. So how do you explain that to students, that it might not be what they're actually looking at?
Right, and we talk to them a lot about being open to and available, even if you're working as a cashier in a retail environment, to engage with who's coming through that line, because you never know the conversations that might strike up that you've never thought about as a career or as an opportunity, or someone now you've met who may be able to provide more information. But we really talk about, again, becoming educated, not trained. And I'm a sociology major. My father wasn't happy about that, but that's what I chose to do. But that degree and those courses that I took for that degree really helped me in everything I've done, of just how to think critically. And that's so important now when so much is in your hand. But you still have to be able to connect with people, to think, to problem solve. And I think those are the pieces we really try to help our students see, that then that's going to open up multiple doors for them, and that they have to be willing to see those opportunities and not be so focused on just one job that they thought they wanted to be when they were in high school or their first year of college. Take a new course. We talk about that all the time. Take something that you don't know anything about, because that's going to open up a lot of different thoughts for you. And maybe think of a different avenue to go down. And that's really what your college experience should be about, is really opening up your mind to different concepts and ideas, careers, all those different pieces that go into it.
So now, at the school itself, is there a lot of different majors that they could take? You said there's 14 different sports now. What's at the school that attracts people to come?
Sure. I think we have a lot of options for our majors. We have over 30 majors. Still looking now at adding different majors, whether it's in computer science. We just started a health services major. A lot of our student athletes are in business, marketing, accounting, but a lot in criminal justice. We have 22 nursing majors within our student athlete population, men and women. So, our athletes are in every major at school. So you can find pretty much anything you want there at Georgian Court, and the faculty are so willing to help, and that even if there's something that's not exactly what you thought you were looking for, to help blend different majors together where you really get what you're looking for to move on, whether it's you want to go to professional studies or just to go on to your master's degree. Our faculty and advisors are amazing at really working with our students and our student athletes in particular, of directing them on what the best options are for them.
Well, great. So we're coming to the end of our show.
Okay.
And usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents and the students that are thinking about coming to a school like Georgian Court? What advice do you want to give them?
Sure. I think the biggest part of making that college choice is where you feel comfortable that you're going to thrive. And that may be, there's so many choices. But I think at Georgian Court, you really will feel that you're taken care of, but also pushed. And I think that's what everyone wants. You want to make sure, especially from a parent perspective, that your child is going to be safe. They're going to have a good education, but that they're going to be challenged as well. And let them be challenged and let them fail in some things. And that's the beauty of athletics too. You have to learn to fail and get back up and move forward again. And that's so important, I think, for our young people to really understand how to do that, struggle through some things, but in a safe environment and a nurturing environment such as Georgian Court, that's really easy to do and still thrive. And then obviously, again, get to graduation and be successful after graduation.
Great. Well, thank you very much
Absolutely.
for coming on the show.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.